Hi loves, it's so good to be here with you today. I'm excited actually to share these messages with you. I took this journey a few days ago. I took one of the biggest stems I've ever seen in my life and I was slightly terrified. We'll get into that. But these are really powerful messages. They've transformed me and continue to transform me. So I'm hoping as you listen in, some of these messages will resonate with you and you'll recognize them as a collective message that was made for you as you're calling it in. Yeah, so I've been doing this series of channeling these messages from the Master Mushroom. And you can check them out on my YouTube video, or you can look on my Facebook page and look down and scroll down on my feed. And if you have any questions, just let me know. So let's get started here. So a lot of the messages lately have been around gender. The last video I did was about gender fluidity and non-binaryism and being a man or a woman. This is a continuation of that conversation, but delving into the programming that we have specifically about each other as men and as women, yeah? So I'm gonna read these messages. Some are gonna be in order, some are not gonna be in order. As you know, a journey can skip and hop and jump everywhere. But stay with me because they're powerful messages. So the first message is that men and women, we don't even know where to look for our needs to be met. Yeah, that we don't even know where to look for our needs to be met. And that we've been looking for ages and ages, for generations and for generations, for our needs to be met in the context of sex and manipulation as a way to get our needs met. Yeah. Something that came up for me is this feeling of both men and women that they're wanting to say, I want you to take care of me. We're wanting to say that to our partners. I want you to take care of me. But we feel the same shame in asking our partners to take care of us in this way and asking for our needs to be completely met, just the same shame as we felt when we were children. Because many of us were shamed to ask for our needs to be met. For instance, if your family was poor, and you asked if you could have like an extra, I don't know, candy bar in your lunch, your mother may have said, we can't afford that. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Or if you really felt like you needed the support of a friend emotionally and you asked to go to your friend's house, your father might have said, don't ask me, we have so much work around here. Don't ask me that. When in reality, like, you really needed that, right? So the spirits are asking us to bring back that it's okay for us to ask, to state that I want you to take care of me. Hi Nina, good to see you, love. So we're wanting to see the virtues of women and men as pure, right? We're wanting to begin to see the virtuous masculine and feminine energy as pure, and to really dissect and deconstruct these old belief systems about what men and women are. What came up for me personally was that I said to myself, if only we didn't have women in the world would be a better place. I said that. As a woman, I said that. And what I was shown is that we, as women, have perpetuated misogynistic programming within ourselves. So we're pointing the finger at men for being a reflection of our own programming. And that we're needing to really delve into our psyche, into our subconscious mind, and take a look at what our own belief systems are around women. And so I had the programming also that it would be this is what they're saying, the collective is saying, that it would be so much easier to be a man. That it would be so much easier to be a man, but not thinking in the realm of society. Like, this programming is not thinking of, it'd be so much easier to, quote unquote, go to work, get a better job, get better pay, not have to worry about being, robbed on the sidewalk or whatever it may be. No, this this feeling of it would be so much easier to be a man is actually about the inner makeup of being a woman, and us as a collective not wanting to relate to the quote-unquote irrationality of emotions within us. And that they're saying that this feeling of it would be so much easier to be a man is one of the main causes of the epidemic of breast cancer. Yeah? Stay with me because it gets real deep here. So what they're saying is you try to look the least like the person that hurt you the most. So ask yourself, who was the person that hurt you the most? If you're someone that dresses kind of more like a tomboy, chances are the person that hurt you the most is a woman. Yeah? If you're a man and you tend to like gain weight, and you don't like to work out, chances are the person that or if you're a woman, you know, chances are the person that hurt you the most is a man. What I said in my journey was I kept saying, I hate myself. I hate myself. I hate myself. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I can't even explain to you how much self-love I've worked. You know, I've been doing this work for just as long as you guys have, right? And I'm like, where the fuck is that coming from? You know what I'm saying? I'm my best friend. Like, where the fuck is that coming from? They showed me that I hate myself because I'm a woman. Because I hate women. Yeah, right? Wouldn't it be nice if each of you as a woman can check your own programming? And men, check your own programming that you don't hate men. Yeah? So I had that I hate myself. And if you happen to be the same gender as the person that hurt you the most, which the person that hurt me the most was my best friend, my very first best friend, from basically kindergarten on. She hurt me the most in my life, as far as like emotionally, right? And so I had that I hate myself because I'm the same gender as the person that hurt me the most. So your mind goes to, well, maybe if I were the opposite sex. Your mind goes to, maybe if I were the other sex, maybe our love would have been okay. That's the very first assumption of the primal mind. Yeah, the very first assumption of the primal mind, there's a split there and it goes male, female, masculine, feminine, right? So that's the very first question we ask ourselves. Maybe if I just weren't this sex, things would be better. And then when we sense others, like in other words, our parents or our love interests that are hosting the same pain. So let's say that your love interest, let's say you're a man and your love interest is a woman, and your love interest is, your love interest was hurt the most by a man, then, and you feel intuitively that you can't come closer emotionally to your love interest, this woman, as a man. Like you feel it, you sense it, right? You're like, I can't come closer to her. She doesn't trust me. She sees me as a predator. Like, but our souls don't understand that. Our souls just want to be closer to the people that we love. So there's a chance that you as a man would then say, maybe if I'm more like a woman, maybe I could get close to her emotionally then. And all of a sudden you start feeling and acting more in a feminine way, you know. And then some people actually take that to the extreme. So yeah, because we don't want to be seen as the source of other people's pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be recognized just because I'm in a female body as the source of your pain. So that's why we try to shift into the opposite if we feel intuitively that that's the case. Okay, and this goes for both sexes. So they're saying that this is also one of the main causes of prostate cancer. That men that want to be closer to other women, or men that prefer women or that feel safer around women are trying to shapeshift, right? And not have to represent the toxicity of the sex that hurt that person the most, or that hurt them the most. The irony is that our needs most often have, listen to this is crazy. The irony is that our needs most often have never been met by the sex that hurt us the least. So that means if a woman hurt you the most likely your needs were never met by the man. So you're in this perpetual cycle of needing to go back to the woman for your needs to be met, the one who hurt you the most, and vice versa. Yeah? So in my case, like, I always had this intuition, and the spirits confirmed. And when spirits confirmed, they don't confirm it as universal truth. They confirm it as your truth. It means that it's programmed in your mind. Yeah? So they confirmed that my father wanted a son. My dad has 5 sisters and 3 daughters. Yeah. And I was the last of the daughters. So I always tried to be daddy's girl. You know, I climbed mountains because he did. I've been riding motorcycles since I was 16 years old. You know, I love to go hiking and camping, and I just loved to do all the things he did. I was his little tomboy, helping him with the Christmas lights outside over Christmas when my sisters were inside, you know, drinking eggnog and warm, you know? And so I had this part of me that said, maybe if I was a son, maybe I wouldn't be a burden to him. And we're going to talk about burden later, and this perpetuation of women are burden later. But I had that, I don't want to be a woman, that I want to be a man. And at some point I was facing like a mastectomy, you know, with breast cancer. And I mean, talk about, you know, major changes because of this perpetual feeling of I can't be loved or get closer to the people I love if I'm in the body that I'm in. You know, does that make sense? Does that resonate with you? Hi, Liz. Good to see you, love. Right. Okay. And they're saying that a lot of us women, this is crazy, I know. A lot of us women are programmed that the hurt or the pain in our body is caused by the feminine. We acknowledge it as the female, that female part. So when we feel like a pain in our head, we associate it with a woman, like that's a woman, because we're programmed, like, again, in this misogynistic programming that women are the cause of our pain. Same idea for men. A lot of times, if a woman was the person that hurt you the most, and you have a pain in your body, you automatically, again, that first primal split in the neural pathways is it male or female? So you're going to associate that pain in your body or that injury with a woman. Or again, if the person that hurt you the most was a man, you'll associate it as a man. So that is why, especially, it's important for us to clean these energies up. And I'll get to that soon, because they're going to share with us how to clean these energies up. Let's see. So they're saying, like, in relation to the health issues, that if we relate, let's say, health issues to the feminine part of us say, well, if I don't have this feminine part, like, i.e. breasts, ovaries, vagina, etc., that I wouldn't have any health problems. And that's actually what was my case. From 13 years old, I had my very first surgery. I had a surgery on my thyroid. I had half my thyroid out, which of course affected my hormones. Then shortly after, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and then issues with my vagina, and then eventually breast cancer. I mean, literally every single major health problem in my life was associated with the feminine. That's how strong this shit is, people. Like, don't, this is legit. So they're saying in order to shift that, we're needing to develop questions to perpetuate that our healing is for us. So we're wanting to perpetuate questions like, why are women the best, right? What are the good parts of women? And I don't mean why are women the best, in other words, over men, but just like, why are women awesome? You know, what are the good parts of being a woman, about being a woman? Ask yourself that question. And if you're blocked and you're like, fuck, I don't even know what the good part of being about a woman is, then sister girl, you know, you gotta journal and ask those questions. Because again, we're trapped under this misogynistic programming that says the only great thing about being a woman, and listen closely, is our power to manipulate. I said it. They said it. That our only good thing about being a woman is our power to manipulate. Talk about misogynistic programming, but it's in us. And owning that we ourselves as women are hosting this belief system fucking hurts. It hurts. So we're asking ourselves, what are the good parts of being a woman? What would women be if not manipulators? Ask yourself that question. What do women represent if not manipulators? We've used our bodies to manipulate both men and women. We've used our bodies to manipulate, and then we wonder why we don't feel loved after the newness of our bodies wears out. Both men and women. And by the way, we're also wanting to ask ourselves the question, men and women alike, but about men, what are men if they're not heartless predators? So there's two questions. What are women if they're not manipulators? What are men if they're not heartless predators? What are they if not that? Because we have to start asking those questions perpetually and programming ourselves in that way. My point being, we need to start seeing ourselves as pure virtues, like pure divine aspects of God in the masculine and feminine. Okay, are you with me? There's a lot, but God, mark this video. Save this video if you want to come back to it and you can't stay with me the whole time. Otherwise, I will be reposting this to YouTube later today, and so you can check out my YouTube. I'll put the link in the feed below, because this is so beautiful. I'm going to talk about plant medicine now specifically, and then we'll jump on to the other things that I said we talk about. So they're saying that the dose of the medicine has to do with our expectations of depth. So 2 nights ago, I took this stem that was like, I swear to God, as big as a Snoop Dogg blunt. I looked at it and I was like, holy fucking shit, am I ready for this? I mean, I had weight to it. It was dense. You know, I'm like, I didn't even know they grew this big. And that's the most I've ever taken before. And I was like, oh God, you know, prayed, thank you, you know. But they're saying that because my expectations were that I would be safe and that I would be able to, you know, interact with my surroundings in a beautiful, safe way and whatnot, that it had to do with my expectations more than the dosage itself. Which is why some people have a small dosage, yeah, and they have like crazy deep, haven't you had a friend like that like took just a little bit of plant medicine and they were like bouncing off the walls and dancing and they were just a different person, and then somebody that took 5 times as much, you know, that was smaller, you know, and nothing, right? So it has to do more with our expectations, because the spirit of the medicine is the spirit of the medicine. It's energy. It's not inside the medicine. The spirits are energy. Again, it has to do with your expectation of depth. So they're wanting, this is so cool. They're wanting us to pay attention to our expectations and the feeling that we're feeling right before ceremony. So, you know, after you drink a cup in an Aya ceremony, or you're just, you know, you've saged your medicine and you're about to take it, or you've taken it and you're like waiting for the effects to kick in. This is one of the most powerful times for us to work with the medicine before the effects kick in. Why? Because we're actually experiencing in those moments, they say, a heightened or magnified feeling of what we experience low grade every day. So if this feeling is like a fear, a fearful or worried anticipation, or you're feeling like you might have physical or emotional pain or experience trauma in any way, they're saying this is what you're already experiencing in your nervous system every day. And that you don't have to have, this feeling. That if you work with that feeling, isolate the energies and release them and transmute those energies, the next time you're in ceremony, you won't even feel that feeling. So many of us walk around thinking that this is how it has to be, this is how it has to feel. But every single plant medicine ceremony you're in can and must feel different. Because you're wanting the effects to be different, aren't you? Okay, so this has to do with masculine and feminine aspects of the medicine. Yeah, like for instance, psilocybin is a male. They're male spirits, and I wasn't even thinking about that this last time that I started to journey again with Silo, with my gifts now. For those of you who don't know, I'm a channel, a spiritual medium. I have this innate ability to genderize spirit. You know, not only can I say to my clients, you know, that's your mother or that's your grandfather or whatever, but I've been able to tell, you know, my friends that are expecting a baby, you know, what gender there is. And I don't offer this information. I know. So I forgot about that. And I said to my shaman when he was helping me with a silo journey, I said, oh my God, I feel this amazing, grounded, beautiful masculine energy, like a weighted blanket over my chest. I feel so protected. And he was like, yeah. And then I said to him, they're male. And he was like, yeah. Like I was supposed to know that. And I guess I was. But that being said, we set ourselves up for the kind of journey based on our pre-programming of masculine and feminine. So if you go into an Aya ceremony, which is a feminine medicine, for me anyway, I have this like fear around what fucking drama and emotion am I gonna have to face. But when I went first back into journeying with mushrooms, I literally thought I was terrified that I would either physically hurt myself or physically hurt somebody else. I'm not kidding. Like I put all of the scissors, make sure they were out of reach. I blew out my candles to make sure I didn't physically hurt myself. I kind of child-proofed my area. But I never done that with Aya. Right? So when you go into that ceremony again, that pre-medicine kicking in, pay attention to exactly what you're feeling and anticipating, because it has to do as well with either the masculine or the feminine aspects, depending on your programming towards masculine or feminine. That being said, we need both the masculine and the feminine of medicine. I know you know shaman that are like, my medicine is the best medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no other medicine like my medicine. This is it. But that medicine doesn't contain both the masculine and the feminine. So we do need complementary medicines. That's why when you go into an Aya ceremony, more often than not, they're offering you rapé, which is masculine. Tobacco is masculine. Yeah? And for those of you who are starting churches in the states that are legalizing psychedelics, there's a legal issue with, right now, around starting a church with multiple medicines. There's a legal issue because their reasoning, the legal reasoning is it's not really a spiritual practice if it's not one thing. Like you can't just go in there and be like, yeah, you know, my spiritual practice is ayahuasca and psilocybin and peyote and iboga, and they're like, no, because that doesn't signify that you have developed a spiritual relationship specifically with that and that is your medicine. But for those of you who are developing a church, the way that you can flow with this is by combining two medicines. to bring in at least 2 medicines and saying that these are complementary medicines because this medicine is masculine and this medicine is feminine. And showing, you know, your reasoning in that way. Yeah. All right, this is for healers. This is like just a cool little thing. For those of you who are healers, almost all of you are healers, come on. Some of us are in a cycle of the return of the feeling of being a witness to trauma. So some people are walking around going like, I'm not traumatized, I've never experienced trauma, right? But they're actually in a perpetual cycle of being a witness to trauma, which, is, most of you know, is just as and often more traumatizing than trauma itself. So I want you to look for those aspects in your clients and your students and those that you're helping guide along, that and honoring that being a witness to trauma is a valid hurt and pain. Yeah? Okay, moving on. I don't want to work. Who doesn't want to work? Raise your hand. This came through for me, yeah? I just came through just loud and clear. I was like, I don't want to work. And for those of you who know, I do healing and I work with the subconscious mind and I do shamanic work. But there's part of me that's like, I don't want to work. And what they're saying, the spirits came through and they said, men specifically, and I'm not talking about men that have a penis, you know, people that identify more as a man. Men, they said, stop trying to make women work. Now hold on, because I'm going to explain all this. They said, women, stop trying to make your man work less or stop working. They said, take on the idea, you know, that you work all you want as long as I don't have to. Or the opposite would be, don't work as long as I can work as much as I want. Now going back to what we talked about in the beginning when we started talking about genders, it's okay to say, I want you to take care of me as a woman. And it's also okay to say that as a man. This is important. It's not just, I don't have to work. It's not just a desire to not want to have to work. It's a desire to not work at all. And we need to distinguish that, because if you're asking yourself the question, what would I do? You know how in some manifestation circles, they say, well, what would you do if you didn't have to work? As if that was the appropriate question to ask in order to manifest not working. But it's not. Because when you're asking the question, what would I do if I didn't have to work? You're actually fortifying your belief that you do have to work. So instead, ask the question, what would I do if I didn't work? Simple. What would I do if I didn't work? Doesn't that feel more powerful? Doesn't that feel like you're stepping into your power and you're empowered and like you're in choice? Yeah. So this came from the collective of men. Like, the men are saying, we don't want you to work. Now, I know, like, again, I'm going to explain a lot of this. And don't hold your comments. Like, comment below. Let me know what your questions are. Men in the collective are saying, Can you see me now? I had to move locations. My internet was bad. So, again, no, you already know that because I think it was still recording. They'll say, the men are saying, we are asking you to go to work when we don't feel like we can support you emotionally. So men are asking women to go to work when they don't feel like they can support you emotionally. I know it sounds bizarre, but it's a psychological thing. Background. My father, again, I said this earlier, didn't have any sons. And so, pardon me, no, this is fathers in general. Like way back in the day, remember when we were farmers and craftsmen and our fathers didn't have any sons? If that was the case, they didn't feel like they can ask their daughters for the same level of help that they can ask their sons for. And so in a way, women were seen as burdens because they couldn't help on the farm, they couldn't help sustain the family in the same way. And this programming is still perpetuated in men's minds, that they can't ask their daughters for help. Not in the same way, anyway. The problem with this is they're still perpetuating the belief that women are burdens. So it's kind of like, I can't ask you for help, but I'm going to see you as a burden. Right? So now we're saying, holy fuck, how can we even reconcile this? Right? How can this be reconciled if we're not feeling safe and comfortable to ask for help? So here's what they're saying. Women, if you don't want to work at all, ask your man what he feels he needs you to help him with. And this can be flipped. This can be a man asking a woman. Ask him or her what they need help with. How can you support him or her otherwise? And they're saying that you may be so surprised when what they're asking for support with is not cooking and cleaning and keeping the house. They're saying be open to what they really need for support is something completely different. Maybe they need more emotional support. Maybe they need more physical support, you know? Give me a second here. You guys are awesome. Oh, this is a cool thing they said. You know, sometimes, especially when we're going through these hard times, and you know, sometimes we say to ourselves, what the fuck is all this hype about? In other words, like, what the fuck is the hype about life about? I feel that way sometimes. I feel like, are we just all like on this hamster wheel and, you know, so far away from enjoying life? Like, did I sign up for this? I feel like that sometimes, you know, like, what's the hype about with life? But they're asking us to ask that question. They're saying we're actually wanting to ask that question because if we ask the question, we'll get the answer. And we're actually creating the hype in the asking of the question. So feel into this energy. What's the hype about? Feel how your neural pathways are searching for what the hype's about. And when your neural pathways search for something, you're literally creating physical new neural pathways and new connections. When you're questioning, you're creating. Yeah? Okay. This is just about social media, and I have literally 2 teeny tiny more things, and then we'll wrap it up. You're amazing. So they're saying, for those of you who are on social media and you have your business and or sharing your videos, sharing posts, and you really feel this like need, especially when you feel like you've created something unique and or you're sharing a personal emotion or story, that sharing that video or that post is not about gaining popularity in and of itself, but it's rather a testament of our hopes of being validated. And we feel, or we've been told, that we're validated according to numbers. Yeah? According to percentage of numbers. But that's not true. And unfortunately, they're saying that this is a fleeting form of validation. That if we put a post out and, 500 people like it, it can last, maybe we could feel validated in our belief systems or what we have to share for maybe a day, right? But it's not lasting. So to do as much as we can to acknowledge and recognize our need for validation when we feel like we're perpetually looking for people to like our post and what they're saying, and to take our energy away from that, isolate the energy of attachment to that, dissolve it, transmute that energy, and flow back into how can I validate myself? How can I make myself feel validated? And this is the last thing. They said, stop saying to ourselves, no one would want to listen to me, come see me, or pay attention to me without a good reason. I'll say it again. Stop saying, no one wants to listen to me, come see me or pay attention to me without a good reason. Because you are enough. Being around you is enough. Being in the presence of your energy is enough. The angels always say that they want to be wherever you are, and that they are wherever you are, whenever you are, wherever you are. No matter what. Even when you're sad, even when you're lonely, even when you're feeling frustrated, that they want to be with you. And this is the same for the souls around you. But if you keep intellectualizing desire, if you keep intellectualizing treatment, desire, or attention, then you'll miss the whole point. Because what happens when you take away the little monkey in us that tries to perform in order to get attention or to get people to listen to us, and we're just left bare and vulnerable, then we're back to square one. And we're back to that belief that we're not enough. Yeah? So stop making up reasons in order to get people to listen to you or pay attention to you. You know? In other words, stop saying, I'm sick, can you come over and help me? Or I'm stuck, can you come over and help me? Or that sort of a thing. All right. And this is hilarious. Okay, this is actually the last thing. I literally said this like when I was journeying. Men and women are like cats. And I said, hashtag, you're welcome. My cat was like with me, and I was like trying to finagle of what he wanted, you know. My cat is non-binary. His name is Lola. And I'm like, what does he want? You know, does he want to be with me? Because when I try to pet him, he goes away, but he just stays right there. So they're saying, like, treat your woman or your man like that. You know, like, it doesn't mean in other words, it doesn't have to mean anything about you. It's more about what they're wanting and what they're ready for. All right, y'all, that was a long one. You're pros, you're amazing. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling, what questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. Again, this will be posted on my YouTube channel so that you can more easily search for it. If this is your first time listening to these types of videos where I bring the message of the medicine to you, then you can check down lower on my feed in my Facebook to see more messages, or again, you can go to YouTube, Rachel Lynn Sebastian, to check me out there, and it's more easily searchable there. Yeah, I love you so much. You're doing so great at life. Mwah! What should we sing? Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Yeah, when Jesus washed. I guess I'm singing about Jesus today. When Jesus washed, when Jesus washed, he washed my sins away. Yeah. Oh, happy day. All right, y'all. Love you. Mwah.